I think the bye week came at a perfect time for us. It gave us a chance to really hone in on some little things that we needed to get better at. Also gave us a chance to get back healthy. I think we'll get C.J. Miller back. He practiced. We'll get Austin Robinson back. He practiced. So I think it was just a good week. We were able to rest Dawson Knox, able to rest Ken Webster. So really, really good week for us. Self-evaluation, and now we get the final stretch run. They remember what you do in November. So excited about playing 4 games in 19 days, and we get the first one right back here at home. So it'll be huge for us to have a big crowd for a SEC game coming back to start this stretch run. So I'm excited about it. Looking forward to the challenge. Like I said, 5-3 after 8 games with 4 left. So fired up about the stretch run. And I know our crowd will show up at 11 o'clock against a big-time SEC opponent. And a lot of respect for Coach Muschamp and what he's done at South Carolina. They're fast and physical on defense. I've been impressed with the way they run the ball on offense. So they're physical on both sides of the ball, but excited about the challenge.
All right, raise your hand. Got a question in the microphone, too.
What do you say to the fans to encourage a big turnout and to be rowdy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, just to come get behind the guys. Again, 5-3, great opportunity. Coming through all of this NCAA stuff, you're still 5-3 with a chance to win a bunch more games. And again, I mean, of the 4 teams that we're playing, they all have the same record or worse. So we're right there. We just got to find a way to get over that hump, to get that energy. In the state, we got great fans, and the atmosphere in the Grove. It's important for our players. It's also important for recruits. We'll have a bunch of recruits show up. So to have the energy in that stadium and to see what it can be, I think that will be really good. And I think they will. I thought the energy was good for Auburn, and I'm sure it will be the same way for South Carolina.
How do you feel like the focus on the red zone fix went last week?
You know what? I think everybody, when you look around the country, and when you get in the red zone, it's hard to score. I think everybody says they have red zone problems when they don't win the game. So I think just getting the one-on-one matchups, finding a Lodge or AJ or pounding it in with Scotty or run the quarterback. There's a bunch of different things you can do down there, but the bottom line is execution and being able to make plays. So I think, but again, a lot of focus on it and just making sure we got the right plays called, and you got to execute.
You mentioned that C.J. Miller's back. As Tyler Knight and Tyler Coney, I've seen him a lot in practice, but hadn't gotten in the games much. Is that pretty much your 1, 2, 3 strings right there?
It is. Tyler Coney could get in, in an emergency. He's a very, very physical kid. He knows all the checks and get everybody lined up. So you could see him in an emergency, but having C.J. back, it gives you a little bit more flexibility with Miles Hartsfield to be able to play some safety where Armani doesn't have to play as many reps back there.
Seems like it might have been a bit of an up-and-down year for South Carolina's passing game. What have you seen from them when they're good and when they're struggling? What's the difference there?
Well, they're a little bit more up-tempo this year. Having Coach Warner over there, they're doing a little bit more tempo and things like that. But they're at their best when they're able to run the football and play action. So I think that's kind of the key to them, is them being able to, so we're going to have to do a good job of stopping the run. They've really done a nice job the last few weeks of being able to run the football, and so I think that'll be key for us.
Coach, you didn't mention Victor Evans. Is he still struggling a little bit with that
well,
ankle?
I guess he's kind of got a chronic knee, so he's just limited, but will play. I mean, he's definitely going to play. It's just how much he can get out there on his knee in practice. So he'll be available and be able to play, probably 15 to 20 snaps.
Matt, you mentioned Dan being over there. Does a coach on the other side, does that assist really with personnel, or what kind of advantage could that be for them?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Being 2 years removed, I'm not sure he'll know some of the older guys, maybe some of the old linemen. But as far as that concerned, I don't know, 2 years removed, if that would be an advantage.
Now, you guys have the NCAA appeal still out there. I know Ross has talked about expecting day-to-day. Is that something that you think about, or is it something you've discussed with your players that, hey, this is out there relative to a bowl game?
No, for us, that's what we thought. We got 24 days left in our season. That's the way that we're preparing and have. And as far as us, our motivation is playing for each other and just building this program and taking pride in the fact that, through all this stuff, you're supposed to be not very good last year and you won 6 games, and the same thing this year and you're 5-3 after 8 games. So just taking the pride and, hey, we're still here and we're not going anywhere. And I think that having that pride and the guys playing for each other and fighting through adversity, to me, that's very, very special. And again, I think a lot of pride in the program, a lot of pride in our guys playing for each other.
Last week, Coach McGriff mentioned about Ruggs, being prepared and stuff, and he felt like he was getting over that hump now. How's this week of preparation going?
No, I think it's been good. I think obviously he does some really, really good things, but he's still a true freshman. So I think he'll continue to get better and better. But you want him to be out there and play 15 to 20 snaps, not have to play 60 snaps. And I think that'll be key. I think Willie and Momo are really, really improving. I like where they're going, so I think they're getting better. But again, Ruggs does run around and hit, but he's got to get lined up and do the little things it takes for a freshman.
Matt, going back to that NCAA appeal decision that's expected any day now,
Right.
What does day one look like if no relief is granted, particularly on the recruiting restrictions? When does day one of that take place, and what does it look like, and what kind of changes does that mean for you guys in terms of bringing in visitors?
As far as us, again, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but there will be some visit limitations. But again, through this season of the 19, there's very little limitations. For the 20 class, we'll have to have a plan for when they can come visit, when they can.
Any questions at the top?
Coach, you mentioned earlier the bye week. Do you feel like it's prepared you guys now to help to head into these last 4 games of the season?
Yeah, I think it came at a great time. I think you're playing 8 games, you're beat up and you're banged up. Gives you a chance to rest a little bit, get a little bit of head start on South Carolina, do some self-evaluations, what's been good through 8 games, what hasn't been good through 8 games. So, I think it came at a really, really good time. Now we just got to make this final push for this last month.
Questions?
I would take it that the offensive line is pretty motivated after having, probably the worst game of the season against Auburn.
Yeah, and again, there's a very, very fine line between, being good and not being good in this league. And those guys have a lot of pride. And again, it's not that they just played terrible against Auburn, but when you play against a defensive line like that, you got to play great. And I think they have a lot of pride, and I expect a lot out of those guys. And again, we're able to move the football and got a bunch of yards against Auburn, so it wasn't just all bad. But we do have high expectations for that unit, and they will step up.
What did you think of Braylon Sanders' off week, and is he still your choice with DK out?
Yeah, but given the open date, we've looked at a couple different things: moving AJ outside some, putting Elijah inside some, maybe a few more 2 tight end sets with with Dawson and Cooley on the field at the same time. There's a lot of different areas we can move in, and so we just got to figure out what our best. Because what you don't want to do is have all your receivers play 75 snaps and then they're not be at their best at the end of the game. So finding the best ways to rest guys will be key for us.
I know y'all talked a little bit about the possibility of moving AJ outside right after the injury. If you choose to do that, what does he give you out there?
Just, again, a big physical guy, tough matchup against a smaller corner because he is so big and strong. And Elijah has done really, really well. And then Braylon's plenty capable too. So we got some options. We just got to figure out the best combination, moving into this week.